All right. Well, let's get going, everyone. I appreciate everyone joining and signing up for this next edition of our LeagueApps Learning webinar. So today's session will be on schedules. Everything scheduling, or as much as we can cover here in 45 minutes. And I want to introduce myself and my co-host as well. I'll turn it over to him to introduce himself. But my name is Taylor Collins. You probably know me. I'm the director of customer support at LeagueApps. I was in the webinar a couple of weeks ago about member management. I've been at LeagueApps for just under a decade and currently reside in London, England. I was born and raised in the rural state of Wyoming, so quite the change of fortunes for me being across the Atlantic. But that does not change my sports allegiances. Big Wyoming Cowboys fan because of Josh Allen, a big Buffalo Bills fan as well. And I'll turn it over to G here.
Thanks, Taylor. My name is Gotham. I go by G. I've been at LeagueApps for about 12 years. And yeah, hopefully I've had a chance to chat with many of you over the years, whether it's in person or Zoom or at a Next Up. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am currently living in Charlotte, North Carolina. My favorite team is the Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds.
Excellent. So a couple housekeeping things here. Our Q&A is going to be open for the whole webinar. My colleague Mark Torres, that's my fellow support manager, he will be manning the Q&A today. We're also recording this webinar, so within 24 hours, you'll receive a recording of this webinar in your inbox. And if you need extra help, I will show you this when we get into the console here in just a second. Our support team is here 7 days a week, all year round, to answer your questions. So if there's something about this webinar that you want more information on or need help on, our support team is here. So moving on to the agenda, I'm going to take you through some of the basics about making a schedule, how to make individual games and events, how to import them, how to make recurring events, and then we'll go over some very important settings and tidbits that's important for you to know. And then I'll touch on what it actually looks like for your customers and your members. So we'll go over to the web portal, which will mirror pretty closely to what you'd see in the LeagueApps Play mobile app as well. And then I'll pass it over to G, and he's going to take you through some global calendar and new program calendar features as well. All right, so let's jump into it quickly. And I'm going to switch over to the LeagueApps Management Console here, where we do have a couple programs here ready to go for you. And I do want to stop here for just a second and talk to some of you that may be joining that perhaps are not using LeagueApps for schedules. I won't take too much of your time on this, but if we look here in a program, just real quick, we are seeing what all of you are using LeagueApps for, which is registration and payments most likely. And that unlocks a lot of features, as you already know, like reporting, registration, data collection, payments, messaging, automations, and things like that. And a big piece of that puzzle that some LeagueApps partners are not using right now is the calendar. And the reason why that is so important is we see Jane Smith here and Jane Smith's parents, Taylor Collins and spouse. Just by virtue of this registration, they also have access to the program calendar here. So if you're using LeagueApps for schedules, it's going to save you a lot of time and energy, because as soon as a person has registered and paid for a program, they will have access to your calendar, which unlocks notifications, access to the calendar. They can see it in the LeagueApps Play mobile app to get push notifications and things like that. So it really, really is powerful. You don't have to be managing your schedule in Google Calendar or a different app or things like that. It is very powerful for you to use. I'm seeing that somebody can still not see the screen, so I'm just going to try and reshare my screen real quick, and then we'll see if that fixes it. My co-host, can you still see? Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, but you just
Okay.
stopped sharing, so
Yep. I'm
now
going to
I
try
don't
that
see it.
again. All right. Let's get back in here. Okay. Cool.
I'm able to see it.
Okay, excellent. All right, we'll keep moving on here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to jump into here is the calendar. So we have, or I did want to call out one other special caveat here is we're going to use the new calendar user experience here, and this is in a demo club team. So if you are using different program types, such as a camp or a league, you may be seeing a schedule page that looks like this. We'll get into more of this later. But every single feature I'm going over here, for the most part, will be synonymous. The user experiences may look a bit different. You can still add games and events from this original calendar experience, but for today's webinar, we are going to use our new club scheduling format. So what we have here, we have a pretty typical program. We've got a master program with some subprograms underneath it, representing some age groups for boys and girls. And then within this program, we have a bunch of teams. So pretty typical program. We have subprograms, teams, and registrants, and a bunch of things like that. And now we need to start adding things to the calendar for these teams, such as practices and games and things like that. And what I want to go through with you today is I'll show you how to make a single event or game. Then I'll show you how to make a recurring event or game. Then I'll show you how to import a schedule, which is pretty cool. And then I'll show you some very important settings and turn it over to G. So let's get into it here. So I'll go to calendar at the top, of course, and it's pretty simple. To get started, we're just going to click create on the right-hand side here. People are still saying they can't see the screen, so let me look into this really quick. Please hold for me just one moment. Some people can see the screen and some people can't. So some people had to rejoin Zoom, it's saying. So we're just going to call an audible here. And if you can't see the screen, I appreciate everyone working together on this. It's teamwork. Try leaving the webinar and coming back, and I'll just pause here for just a minute so you can do that. Technical difficulties, but nothing we can't overcome here. All right, we'll wait like 30 more seconds and then resume so people can get back in. Okay, we'll go ahead and resume here. We are recording, so even if you can't see it, we'll make sure this gets to you afterward. All right, so to get started, I'm going to go ahead and create a single game. So let's say we have two teams within this club team, and they're going to have a friendly scrimmage, and we just want to create a game. So the difference between a game and event in LeagueApps is an event is just for one team or group of individuals, whereas a game is going to be two teams playing each other, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and select a game. And this is pretty simple. We're just going to fill out this form to add something to the calendar. So we're going to say it's a scrimmage. We're going to choose in what subprogram we want the scrimmage to belong. So we'll say the 12U boys are going to be scrimmaging in these two teams. So the home team is competitive. The boys team is recreational. We're going to set a location. So at the LeagueApps Soccerplex, which does not exist. So don't go looking for it, but maybe someday. It's in the north field, so we can add sub-locations as well. And we're going to go ahead and select a date. So we'll say this is happening on Friday the 3rd. And the arrival time is pretty neat. You've all heard the saying, early is on time is late. So we can add this into the calendar here to say what time we want players to actually arrive. And we'll say at 11:45 a.m. And a neat thing about this schedule page is you can tab through these fields. So you'll see I'm not clicking. I'm just pressing tab on my keyboard. And that's a really quick way to be able to fill out these fields without having to point and click on everything. I can just tab through these things and it makes it much faster. And we'll say this is going to end at 2 p.m. And there we go. We can also say that some of these times are TBD if we want to, if you're unclear. So we have all the times in. We can add notes. If you want to say, hey, who's bringing orange slices, bring your own water bottle, bring your own ball, what color jerseys do you need to wear? You can add all this in the notes. You can also add a custom title if you want. So we'll say friendly scrimmage. And then we'll go and click create activity. And just like that, we've got our first item on the calendar. And like I was saying before, um, I'll show you how to publish calendars and things like that later. But again, the advantage is everyone who had registered for this, that's in this on these teams, as soon as they would register, they would know that they've got a scrimmage coming up in a couple days. So pretty neat. We don't have to go sync that with anything. It just happens automatically with LeagueApps. Let's go ahead and look at a recurring event as well. So let's say you've got some teams or a team that practices every Wednesday. We don't have to add those individually. We can add a recurring event here, which is pretty sweet. So I'll go to an event. We're going to go ahead and select practice. We've got a bunch of different options here. We'll select practice. We'll choose a subprogram. So we'll choose the girls. And we're going to choose, this is the neat thing as well, is I can choose more than one team. So let's say that we know that the girls gold and silver practice at the same time at the same location. If some of these things differ, you do need to go in and add different recurring events. But if you do know that a couple teams practice at the same location and time and day, then you can add more than one team here. So we'll go ahead and choose the south field. We're going to choose the date this recurring event starts. So we'll say next Wednesday, and it repeats weekly. And we're going to say it repeats until the end of August. So this is where you'd say, hey, I want this to repeat until when? So we'd say August 26th here. And you'll see repeats for 7 weeks. And now we're just going to do what we did before. So we'll say arrival time is 3:45 p.m. And then to start, it's a long practice, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And I'm just tabbing through those again on my keyboard. We can also click the little clock icon if you'd rather click and use this little interface to select the time instead. We can add notes or a custom title. Custom title isn't necessary. Like for this one, we know when notifications go out, it's going to say what team and what the event type is. So sometimes a custom title is not necessary, just because what LeagueApps does by default will show the participants the information they need. And I'll click create activity, and 16 activities have been created now. Why 16? Because we had 2 teams selected, so double than 8. Now what we're seeing here, you might be asking yourself, like, well, there's only 9 here. What happened to the rest? Where are the rest of the practices? And you'll see you have filters up here in the top left, and it defaults to this month. So if I wanted to see things for next month, you have a couple options. We could switch to the calendar view, or I could just set my filters here to see a broader date range. All right. And the next thing I want to go into, the third way to add things to the calendar, is by importing. And I have a sample here already with an import template. And what I would do to get started is I would click import over here on the right, and it'll bring up this prompt, and you'll click download template. So I'm going to leave this here for a moment and switch to my next tab. And I have the template here. And if you get your schedule from a different source, or if you prefer building out your schedules in Excel or a different spreadsheet program, this can be a really handy feature for you to just import it all into LeagueApps at once, which is pretty awesome, and it works really well. The one thing I'll call out is you do need to use the template. You can't just choose any column that you want. LeagueApps really won't know what to do with those. So use the template, and then you can transpose data from different spreadsheets or files over into the template. And you'll see a lot of the fields that I've already mentioned, like the program name, subprogram name, teams. If I scroll over to the right a little bit, you'll see some of the fields I just used, like arrival time, end time, things like that. And you'll just fill these out. And if you're pretty handy with Excel, you can even use some like data validation and things like that to make it even faster. But this is really handy. So we have all this information in here already. Again, keep the column headers the same. Other callouts is you'll need to use military time, and then dates need to be in this format: day, day, month, month, and then the full year. And then what I would do, I would just export this out of Google Sheets to a CSV, and then we'll come over here into LeagueApps, and we'll choose a file and go ahead and import it here. So we'll do this. I've got one ready for you. And the importer here will uh, do a lot of the work for you. It uses some AI to try and do matching for you. And what we're seeing here is it's matching a lot of stuff already. So you'll you'll save yourself some time to make sure things match exactly. So what's happening here in this prompt is LeagueApps is trying to match what's in LeagueApps with what was in the file. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you'll see it's done a pretty good job of matching those teams exactly here. It's also identified that the practice means an event and that the regular season game means a game. We have a bunch of dates, and it looks like it's fixed some of those for us, which is nice. And then we're seeing down here, it's matched the location as well as the sub locations. Um, and so if I go ahead and click continue, it's going to review, and then we can see what's happening and see if we can import it. And it looks like it's found an issue. And if you were in my last webinar, I intentionally lead myself into these little traps so I can show you how to fix them. So it's saying here, we have an error that there's no external teams. Now, what could that mean? So I do want to show you a neat feature here, and we'll come back and try this again. So this will segue nicely into my next section about some of these important settings. So I'm going to close this. And a neat feature of calendars is, let's say you have a team. So let's say I wanted to create a game for our girls teams. And let's say our 12U gold team is playing a team in a different club. So either it's a friendly or it's part of a league game or a tournament or something, and you want to add that to the calendar. Now LeagueApps can do that. And this is the error we just ran into with the importer. So if I come to settings up here on the right and schedules and standings and schedule settings, we have this handy feature called allow external teams. So essentially what this allows you to do is if I turn this on, I can define any team that I want when I'm adding to the schedule. So I can say my team is playing the Sharks this Saturday, or whichever other team that you want. And that allows you to add those teams and even record scores for them in the LeagueApps schedule. So pretty handy. So let's go back now that I've enabled the setting. And again, it's under settings and schedules and standings. I'm going to go back to my program and we're going to try that again. And it should definitely let us through this time. So we'll come back to the calendar. And we're going to go ahead and import. And we'll try this one more time and we should be good to go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and click continue. And another thing I should say is there's a couple different ways to, oh, we got another error again. Let's see what it is. Start date and end date must be on the same day. Okay, let's go back and finish this. And we'll fix this. So these errors are pretty handy. So we do have start date and end date on the same day. Oh, 2016. That would be why. All right, so that's pretty handy. It does tell us what the error is, so we can come back in here and fix it. And I'm going to download a new file. Okay, and we'll try this one more time here. So I'm going to go back, go back, go back. I'm going to choose a file. This will be in my downloads folder this time. And it should let us through now. So it does take a little bit of troubleshooting, making sure you have all your data correct. Is external team away correct? This is all looking good now. We have no errors. We fixed those two, and we'll go ahead and click finish. Yes, I'm ready. All right, and those should be in the program now. So what we'll do now is we're going to go look at a calendar view, and we can see a bunch of stuff in here now. So we're seeing some practices. We're seeing a competitive game here. We're seeing competitive versus the Sharks. So those were imported for us, just like that. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's go back to the list view, and I'm going to show you some other tools here, so I can edit stuff or cancel stuff and things like that. And then I'll include my little section here. So let's say I needed to edit one of these events or cancel one of them. It's pretty simple. I just click the dots on the right and you'll have these actions. Now, an important caveat about canceling or deleting activities is pretty important. So let's say LeagueApps sent out an email reminder about this friendly scrimmage this morning, and that way a bunch of parents got a reminder about this game, and then you were to come in here and delete it, they may go look on their calendars and be like, well, what happened to that game? I swear it was there this morning. They're calling you saying, hey, what happened to the game? Whereas if you were to cancel it, if that's indeed what happened, this game will stay on the calendar, but it'll be designated as canceled. So that gives parents the information they need to know that, oh, something must have happened with this game. It is canceled. I'm not hallucinating that I didn't just see this on the calendar earlier. So that's an important caveat there. So let's go ahead and try and cancel this activity. And you can notify participants for it, but you'll see here I can't click on it. What's going on here? There's a neat feature here where you can choose to enable notifications or not for these events. So if you're editing, even if I was to edit one, I can change the day or the time or something, and I would be able to choose if I want to notify participants of this or not, but I'd have to turn on notifications. But what we're seeing here is I've led myself into another trap where I can't enable notifications. And this leads me to one of my most important things about schedules. We see this question every day in support, I think, of why can't my parents see the schedule? Why isn't it showing up in the app? Reminders aren't going out. Nobody can see it. So we do this on purpose. I just did a bunch of work on the calendar, and I may need to make changes. I may need to edit things. I may need to delete games. I may need to do multiple rounds of imports. And I don't really want people seeing that while I'm messing around with this. I want to get it perfect, and then I want to show it to the world. And that's why we have publish up here. So once you're ready, the schedule is good to go. You always want to come here and check and say, okay, I need to come here and publish my schedule. And you can choose to publish games, events, or both. And in their new schedule format, you can even pick and choose among the subprograms. So that's very important. So if you do get questions from a bunch of parents being like, hey, why can't I see this? I'll show you another culprit here in just a minute. This is an important one here. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Publish. And now I can come here and enable notifications. And now I can come here and cancel this activity and choose to notify participants of that cancellation. So everything leads back to publishing. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple other settings, and then I'm going to quickly go show you what this looks like for the participants and go from there. So the next thing I want to show you is under settings and preferences. There are some visibility and privacy settings here for you pertaining to the schedule. One is you can turn the schedule off completely if you want using this preference. So if you are looking for the calendar icon, it's not even there. This may be why. This is also where you can choose to allow staff. By staff, we mean coaches, managers, program admins, or sorry, not team admins, things like that. This is where you can allow those coaches that are on teams to add and edit events. So again, if you're getting questions from coaches like, hey, why can't I add games and events to my team's calendar? This may be the culprit here, this program preference. We also want to make sure that those staff are actually on the teams that they're assigned. You can choose to use the home and away format. These are essentially a bunch of on and off checkboxes. If you want to use standings, you can. RSVP and check-in. Check-in is essentially how you can take attendance. So you can report on who's coming to practice, things like that. And then we also have a setting here for game and event reminders. This also pertains to push notifications. So you could say anywhere from 1 to 5 days before the game or event, like so practices or scrimmages, anything on the calendar, you can choose to have those reminders get sent out. So these are very important settings for you as well when it pertains to who can see the calendar, who can see RSVPs, and if you want to allow those program staff to be able to add and edit items to the calendar. All right, cool. So 12U girls, I'm just going to make sure that I actually added something to the calendar for the 12U girls real quick, and then go from there. I believe I did. So I'm just going to filter this really quick by the team, actually by the subprogram, 12U girls. Yep, we got a few things. So I'll come over here to the member experience here where I am logged in as myself. That's the account I used. And like I was saying right at the beginning of this webinar, just pretend that I'm logged in as a parent in the program here. And I didn't have to do anything. And really, the admins didn't have to do anything extra to get those items onto the calendar. I'll switch to the list view here where we are seeing this practice. So as soon as I registered onto this program and the administrator added things to the calendar, it arrives on their calendar automatically. It doesn't take any extra work. I'll get a reminder for this a couple days before July 10th about this practice. If I was to log into the mobile app, I would see the same thing. An important thing about the mobile app is it is a post-registration team tool. So in order for items to appear on the calendar for your members on the mobile app, it does have to be associated with a team or a group. So that's an important FYI there. So pretty handy. We'll also have a team calendar from here in the web portal as well. So if I wanted to see just the team calendar, it just propagates everywhere just like that. Oops, that was the roster page. Just like that. And we're seeing the calendar here. So pretty cool. How, you just we just spent a few minutes, we added things 3 different ways, and it's automatically available to those parents. And that triggers a bunch of automations and notifications and things like that as well. So with that, oh, I'm going to show you one other thing, then I'm turning it over to G. So you saw my locations. I think I saw some questions come through about locations. I added a location via manage and locations, and this is where you'd add all of those. So you could mainly the main locations where you hold your events is what you'd want to put here. There is a setting to allow your program staff to add custom locations if you want. We won't get into that here, but you can go to manage and locations and add as many as you want here with just the name and the address, and then add sub locations as well. Awesome. Okay, that's all from me. I'll be back with you for Q&A here later. And for now, I'm going to turn it over to G. So I'll go and stop sharing.
All right, thank you again, Taylor. Let me share my screen and pull up. All right. So, I'm excited to share more about the global calendar and the upcoming program calendar upgrades. The global calendar is released in March of this year. Our program calendars are in the process of being released right now. As you saw from Taylor's demo, they're available for all of our club teams. And then later this month, they'll go out to the other program types, the leagues and the camps and classes. The goal of the global calendar was to create a central place to view and manage your schedules. It would let you see activities across all of your programs in one spot. You can customize the views, you can search quickly to find the info that you need and easily update it. Plus, there's bulk actions to make mass updates in minutes and not hours. And it's all mobile optimized, so you can make updates from the field or anywhere you might be when a last minute change might occur. And then our program level schedules are designed to match the same interface, the same views and functionality that we have at the global level, just scoped down to the program. So it allows you to work wherever it makes sense to complete your task, whether it's at the global level or at the program level. So let's jump into the demo and see a lot of these tools in action. When you first log into your dashboard, you'll hopefully notice a new icon at the top. This is for your calendar. It makes it easy for us to navigate and find and manage our schedules. And here we can see all of our activities in one spot across all the programs in our site. And by default, we're seeing today's activities. We can very easily filter to see today and tomorrow, this week, next week, this month, or even a custom date range. And this table is customizable. We can add or remove or rearrange columns. So if we wanted to make this column shorter or move this column over, we can do that. We can also decide which columns to show and hide. At the very top is one of my favorite features. It's called the quick search. It allows us to really quickly drill down and find the information that we want. It it searches every piece of data on this grid. So if we only wanted to look at, let's say, girls programming, we'd be able to do that quickly. Or if there's a naming convention that you have, it allows you to find, that set of programs and activities associated with those programs pretty easily. So if we have like a Legends program, we could do that. And then as Taylor showed off, we have actions so we can edit, cancel, delete, or check in if allowed. In addition to our quick search, we also have robust filters. These filters are multi-select and also have type ahead. So if we have a long list of programs or a long list of teams, we don't have to scroll through all of them. We could just, sort of type them in, and then we can choose the ones that are relevant. And we have lots of different fields we can filter by. Let's say we wanted to just look at our games. We could select games and hit apply filter. So now we're just seeing all of our games. We have three different visualizations. So this is the list view we're looking at right now. We have the calendar view, which shows a calendar. The calendar has month, week, and day views as well. And you'll also might notice our filters from the previous view transitioned over to this view. So we're only seeing our games. If we wanted to make a quick change and remove the filter, we could. And now we see all of our games, practices, training sessions all in one view here. This calendar is also drag and drop. So if we know that we need to make a change, we can click on the card, we can hit edit, we can hit edit this activity and make the change manually, but we can also make the change visually. So if we know that next Thursday's lightning practice needs to be moved from Thursday to Friday because the coach can't make it, we can simply drag and drop it over. And as Taylor mentioned before as well, this is completely integrated with your registration and your rosters. So if we wanted to make a change and notify all of our participants, we could just put in a message. We can choose save and send. And then immediately all the participants that are registered to the team, the coaches, the parents and players will get an email notification and if they have the mobile app downloaded, a push notification that a change has been made. And the change will be reflected on your calendar here immediately, and then all the public views as well. Let's go over to the third tab. This is our location view. Let's tab over to the weekend, and this helps us, one more day. This helps us see what's happening at a granular level on the day and across the fields at one or more locations. So we know we can see that all of our games are spread out. There's no overlaps. There's enough buffer in between games for transition time and practice. And if this is drag and drop as well, so like if field two is flooded because it didn't drain properly, we could find open slots across our other fields and reschedule these games. And again, we can choose to notify or not notify. You can choose not to notify if you're making a change months in advance, and it's probably, people aren't looking to see what field they're on, a month ahead of the time. So we can correct our schedule to accommodate any changes that sort of need to happen pretty quickly without having to drill into each one, submit a form, hit save, and then kind of do that over and over again. Let us head back to the list view. One of the most exciting updates in this experience is to take bulk actions. So let's say there's a tropical storm and you need to cancel all activities for next week. We can change our filter to next week. We can use the select all to take an action. We can unselect things if strength and conditioning, we know that training session is indoors. We can say we're going to exclude that from this bulk action. Then we go over here to bulk actions. We can hit bulk cancel. We can choose to notify and say, you know, all activities canceled because of the weather. And again, once we hit this, this is instant. Um, the activities status is updated. It shows as canceled for any admins that are in the management console. It shows up on public schedule views as canceled on the web in the mobile app, and then the notifications are sent to the roster of all of the teams associated with all of those activities. So instead of having to go in one by one and cancel these, or even program by program, you can do this all from the global level. And last but not least, let's take a sneak peek. We already did this with Taylor, but like at the program level calendar, um, we can either go in and see all of the entire program here at the group program level, so all of the 2026 boys soccer, or we can go and see it at the sub program level. So if we just wanted to see boys competitive, this would just be our boys competitive schedule. And all the details are very, very similar. We have the same functionality and interfaces that we have at the global level, same three views, quick search, filters, mobile optimized, just now at the program level. So it's easier for your staff to learn and maintain just one system. And the best part of all is as we continue to make more upgrades to our scheduling module, which we have plenty planned, they'll happen both at the global level and the program level. So thank you again, and I'll turn it back over to Taylor.
Excellent. Thank you very much, G. And I will go into some Q&A here. So we've got a bunch of questions. Mark's been firing off answers, and I want to jump into a few of these as much as I can with the time we have. So I saw a couple questions that Mark already answered, but I want to make sure I go over them. We got a question about the CSV import where someone will often use 8 a.m. or something like that. So here, oops, let me share my screen again. Excuse me. All right, we're back up. So I have my import file here, and you'll see I don't have AM or PM listed here at all. So in your import file, make sure you're using military time. So when you're putting the time, don't put 8 a.m. Just put 8:00. If it's 1 p.m., put 1300 like I've done here, because some of the importers, we do have a couple different importers. One's more forgiving than the other. They do require things to be in the exact format. And same thing with the date; it has to be in this format here: month, day, and then the full year. So, good question there. Let me go back to a few others. We had another one that said, is there a way to allow external locations, or do I need to add each one manually? So that's a bit of a yes and no. It's a good question. We do have a feature that allows your coaches to add their own locations via the mobile app. And that's a feature that we'd have to turn on for you. So if it's something that you want, you can say, hey, I want my coaches to be able to add their own locations via the mobile app. Let us know, and we can get that enabled for you if you don't have it already. If you want to test, if you do, just add yourself to a team in the mobile app. And when you're creating an event, if you're able to add a location, then you know you have it. Where those go, so all those locations will show up here. So if your coaches add a bunch of locations, they will appear in the locations list here, so you can still manage them. So if you have coaches put the same location in 3 times, you could come in here and delete a couple of them if you want. So short answer is yes, we can allow custom locations, but that's only available in the mobile app. It's not available anywhere else. The next question we got is another good one. Does the calendar automatically show on the club's website? So this is an excellent question. So you build out the schedule using the tools that G and I showed you, and you want to get it somewhere publicly. You want it on your website. That's an excellent question. So if I come here, and every single LeagueApps site has a calendar page, and I'll actually go to it here. And what it is it's your subdomain. So the subdomain is unique for all of you. It's going to be, you should know this already. It's at the front of every single registration link you have. So this one says League Apps Learning. Some will be like uh, you know, next gen lax or something like that, .leagueapps.com, and then /calendar. And this is a public link. So I could take this and I could put whatever I want. I could put it on my website. I could put it on social media. I could text it to somebody, and you'll see this is some of the calendar that I've already built. It's already on the calendar. So that's a really quick way where you can get that calendar on a public site. Um, and it is subject to the program's privacy settings. So the only things are going to show here, like I said before, is if the calendar is published, if the calendar is available to be viewable by everyone. But if you do have some of your calendar settings locked down for privacy, it wouldn't be available on this public site-wide calendar. So very good question. Another question we have is the difference between reminders and notifications when it comes to the calendar. So I think I understand the question. A notification would be something that's occurred, something that's triggered. So like if I wanted to come here and cancel this activity, that's going to trigger a notification. Like G was showing you, or you can type in a message about why this is being canceled. That would be considered a notification. This gets sent out by email as well as a push notification in the app. It'll only be specific to the events to which it applies. So for this one, it's only the 12U girls gold. So that's who would get that cancellation notification. Whereas a reminder, that's going to be governed by this reminder setting here in the program preferences. So that's the difference between those. A reminder is just going to say, hey, you have this thing coming up in a day or 2 days, whereas the notification would be triggered by somebody. All right, we have time for maybe a couple more locations, or not locations, a couple more questions. Let's see here. So this one's done. Just looking through these one more time. Oh, interesting. We also have another question that's pertains to like a program. This will probably be our last question. So I just showed you this link, right, about a calendar. So where does the specific link for just a particular team? You can filter here by program, but I don't think that's what we're really asking here because it's not a unique link. You'll see my URL up here didn't change at all when I switched to 10U boys. But there is, and again, I'm going to keep saying this, it is governed by the privacy settings. So if you don't allow people to see team schedules publicly, then they won't be able to. So that's going to be important. But what I could do here is you'll see here, I'll come to the 12U girls team, and it's going to take me to the calendar page. And there's this link here that would take me to that calendar for just the team. So it is possible. I think if that's something that you need, you can write to our support team and we can help you do that. Say, hey, or you can even use the schedule for the program in general. That might be a better one too. Oh, there's no schedule posted yet. So something's up with my publishing here. But you could use the subprogram calendar as well. So you'll see that this is the unique calendar link for just the 10U girls subprogram. So you can drill down to a degree, and it is possible, but a very good question. Another thing I want to show you, actually, the last one is if you're looking to send out a unique link. So if a parent is asking you like, hey, what's my schedule? Like, I don't want to see everything for all the other teams and stuff like that. The mobile app is specific to just that member. It's only going to show them things that really apply to themselves and their children. But the other one here in the web portal is this link here where you'll see it's leagueappslearning.leagueapps.com/schedule. This is the same link for every single one of your members, but it's also unique to themselves because it's behind a login screen. So I log in with my credentials, my email address and password. And when I arrive at my schedule page, it is my schedule. It's just things that pertain to me and the programs that myself or my family members are a part of. Awesome. So we see some other questions that didn't get answered. What we do in this case is we'll compile these. I'll type up answers for all of you, and we can send this out in a document afterward. But I'm going to do one more plug here, and then I'll send you all on your way. We've got another webinar coming. The next one is July 29th on reporting and analytics. We have so many reports in League Apps. Learn how to send those reports to your inbox every morning, how to set your own filters and saved views. There's reports that have dozens of columns. How do you see just the ones that you want? How do you rearrange them? This is going to be really powerful. There's so much data in League Apps that all generates from single registrations, and there's a lot of data at your fingertips. So definitely join us for that one. Look out for that email coming. And I see a request for another schedule webinar on round robin scheduling and schedule generation. So maybe we'll get that on the calendar too. But thank you all so much for joining. We really appreciate everyone attending and being eager about learning more about League Apps. Thank you all for all the amazing questions. We love our partners here, and we love teaching you about League Apps. So thank you again so much for your time, and have a great rest of your day and a very safe and happy holiday weekend for those of you in the States.